So guys, here we are, MMA UK News, Stoomboy, as always, MMA UK BJJ show. So before we talk about our show then, just a quick word on my sponsor, Simplified Data, a company that helps people who are maybe struggling financially anywhere in the UK. They do offer a free, friendly, confidential service. So anybody that is struggling, maybe wants a bit of advice, then the number and website is across the bottom of the screen. Definitely hit these guys up. If you do call them, just quote either the MMA UK BJJ show or the Scottish MMA Awards. Now, going to be talking about ADCC Scotland, the Invitational 2. Now, going to be this Saturday, so we're only a couple of days away now. Going to be at the Golden Lion Hotel in Stirling. Now, there is tickets still available for this. So if you are looking for tickets, either jump on my page on Facebook or go to the ADCC Scotland page, and you will get all the information there. I think it's on Mop's page as well, and a few of the grapplers that are on the show, they've already reposted the link for it as well. Now, going to be an amazing show. I mean, the first one was unbelievable. I mean, as I said, it was really, really high level. The matches were crazy, and this one's going to be bigger and better than the first one. We've got even bigger grapplers, even more well-known grapplers are going to be on this show this time. Not to say that it wasn't well-known the last time, but as I said, we're going to have some other superstars stepping out on Saturday. Now, my next guest then is going to be on the show that night, the Duchess, Caroline Plumley, Aberdeen Combat Centre. Caroline's been busy the last few weeks, all right? So we saw her at TKC, she was at Almighty, she was at Reorg at the weekend there, and obviously going to be ADCC Scotland. So Caroline's definitely, for me, I don't see anybody, regardless of age, male or female, weight levels, that's out there as much as Caroline. And as I say, she's out there, obviously going out to win, but she's also going out to enjoy herself and have fun, which is what it's all about. So, but listen, the Duchess, absolute pleasure, as always, chatting to you.
Thank you. Well, I can't big up the ADCC more. If you haven't got tickets, go get yourself tickets. The last one was off the rockers. It was more, I would say, like a MMA fight night. Yeah. The crowd were just absolutely buzzing. I mean, sometimes we go to these grappling, the sub onlys, and no offense to anybody, but they can be quite boring. Sometimes all you can hear is the opponent's breathing, and that's it. Yeah. But this one, oh man, pretty much start to finish, the music, the crowd, it just got more electric. I don't think we left the place last time till the back of 11. Even for people that are not grappling fans, the fights or the matches, were just, most of them were just start to finish. Everybody was just going for it. I mean, to be honest, I was expecting somebody to knock over somebody buying drinks, but it never happened. We were all gunning for it to happen. Yeah. Probably of, but it never happened. But yeah, the crowd was just right there beside us. Standard seating, they were all sitting on the floors. It was brilliant. Absolutely electric night.
We saw Barry, the Hobbit, Barry Monroe, throw someone in onto the stage. So, and obviously got disqualified. So
disqualified, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Which he maybe shouldn't have done that, but then I suppose these things add to the excitement.
Yeah. It was. I mean, as it for me, I mean, the ADCC. I mean, in regards to a rule set. Now, I get into trouble for this all the time when I talk about IBJJF and that kind of rule set where it's boring. It can be boring to watch, and I mean, people stall it out. I had an argument with somebody while the Worlds was on, and they said, "Stoom, name 2 matches that you've seen that was boring." So I rattled off like every single time there's a Masters division. Right, I said they're all fucking boring. I rattled off a load of other matches. A Shea Montague's match at the Worlds last year, where the guy got points and then just stalled the rest of the match out. And
Stall. Get an advantage and stall it out, and you've won. I'm probably going to get proper hammered for this by my own team as well. But I don't believe it's. I mean, that's not competing. Yeah. Do you know what? That's not, to me, that's not a rule set. This is about fighting. It should be go the whole time. If you can get an advantage for doing something and then stalling it out. Who's won anything? Do you know what I mean? I'm not a fan of IBJJF rule set. I like you're saying, it's boring. No.
Yeah.
And I mean, these things, you're paying for tickets. You know, this is not we've paid to get into the competition. You're paying for tickets. Folk want excitement. Okay, there's no striking, but you want excitement. You want rolling around. You want, have they hit the crowd? Unfortunately, we actually want, oh my God, they threw him through a table, which ended badly for Barry. But that's what people want to see. And I mean, I've said to you this before in the TKO. This is entertainment. These shows, 100% entertainment. If you ain't entertaining anybody, what's the point to it? You know, nobody's going to buy tickets for it. I think sometimes that's why these events are quite quiet. You know, there's the jiu-jitsu nerds sitting there. Apart from that, nobody else is coming. But the ADCC last time, off the rockers. Yeah. Brilliant. Even the buzz in the place was just electric.
It was. I mean, it's the closest thing to MMA without the punches and the kicks that in any grappling rule set that you're going to get, because as I said, most of the people that come in and do it are MMA fighters, or do you know what I mean? And it could be, well, look, you saw Paul Craig the last time out there. So we see like your jiu-jitsu or your sambo guys, wrestlers coming out, and they'll take on high level MMA fighters. And as I said, it's very, very close to the MMA rule set, I say, just without the obvious.
Yeah, I mean, really, with these sub-onlys that you do, really, you should be gunning for it. This is sub-only. This is submit to win. Personally, if there's no subs, I don't think anybody should win. We're here to submit, but apparently that's boring. But yeah, it should be subs. That's what people want to see. That's the whole point to it, is get a sub. Sometimes that'll be stupid, but then this is what we do. Do you know what I mean? I've seen some pretty stupid legs being exploded on a few different shows. Got to work the next day. That part I think that's a wee bit silly. But then we know the rule set as well. We're allowing ankle locks. We're allowing twisters. We're allowing. If you don't want it, tap out. Work tomorrow or compete.
But it's definitely a rule set that favours you as well. I mean, we spoke after TKC, and we talked about, obviously, when you come out, it was like very, very aggressive, and it was an aggressive style, and you could tell, obviously, from your MMA kind of background that you were going to come out that way. And as I said, I think Gemma was a little bit taken aback with how quickly you came out, because you saw her, she was kind of on the back foot, and she was like, shit, is this really happening? And so something like an ADCC rule set for you, do you know what I mean? It's an ideal rule set for you.
Gunning it. You've just got to go for it. But then that's the fun part, isn't it? Standing there, ooh. Will I get this grip? Will I get that grip? No, just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? I think when you get to a level, obviously people talk about their game plans, but really, your game plan can go out the window because you've just slipped on your own toe. Do you know what I mean? How many times have we done comps or done fights, anything like that, and you have this amazing game plan, and then they do something else? Exactly what you want. So just gun for it, and then you're like, if that doesn't work, go for someone else. Go for it. Grab a leg, grab an arm, just grab something.
Yeah.
Go for it. It's exciting. Yeah. I don't always win, but usually I put on a pretty good fight. And I think as well, the fact that I look like I'm enjoying it while I'm doing it is just one of the reasons that I keep getting on these things and keep going for it.
Yeah. No, that's what we love. I mean, as I said, I love every time I see you always laughing and joking in the back. And do you know what I mean? It's like, and you see other people, and other people are sitting there like, shit, I don't even want to be here. Whereas you're in the back, you're just fucking chilling, just having a laugh. And do you know what I mean? You're getting your teammates all riled up, getting them ready to go. And as I say, you're having fun. And as I say, for me, I mean, when I went out to Forza, and do you know what I mean? I was in, and I'm like, well, I'm going to get beat. But do you know what? I'm going to come out there and I'm just going to fucking have fun with it. And then the build up to it. And then by the time we got there and came out and everybody shouting my name, and I took ages taking my gi off, right? Because obviously I walked out in the gi and I'm like, Yeah.
I miss
Took
ordering,
ages and that was it.
but that's you've got to have fun with this. I mean, to be quite honest, I'll often buddy my opponents as well beforehand. I mean, the SGI that I did, is it Scarlett? Scarlett?
Yeah.
Yeah, beforehand. I seen she was sitting on her own. Who wants to be sitting on their own at these things? So I sort of went up to her, says, "Oh, look, if you want, just put your bags beside us." By the time we'd got to matching, we'd already got inside jokes. And both of us just, out there, went out there and had some fun. And I think sometimes that show matches. Not everybody's the same. Nerves, the whole lot. Some people take this really seriously. I'm 45. We're literally out on the floor, sweaty and half naked. I mean, so many innuendos in there, but you've got to have fun with this. You know what I mean? And that will show with what you do, I think. I mean, at the weekend, and daughter, who's back into training as well now, she watched another young lassie have a proper tantrum on the mats because she'd lost. The belt got thrown, the hair got thrown. She wouldn't shake the lassie's hand. Oh my God! Even my daughter was embarrassed. She was just like, "What is this?" And you're like, we've paid X amount of money to do this, and that's the way that it's done. Females for us, we don't have massive divisions. You know what I mean? We end up fighting each other again. We end up doing comps. I mean, there's many of these things where I've actually asked people, "Do you fancy doing a sub only? Do you fancy doing this?" You've just got to get stuck in. But acting the way that some of these people act is just, to me, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because it should be fun. It's a show.
Yeah. Let me ask you. Well, things like the Female Fighter Collective, obviously doing what they're doing with that, and they're doing amazing things and trying to match up females on different shows, whether it be MMA or grappling shows, sub-onlys and all that kind of stuff. So they're definitely, it looks like it's working, it's making a difference. It is making a difference. But yeah, I mean, you're still going in.
Put people forward. There's another one as well. Women of BJJ is another one. They do adverts and things but the Female Fight Collective is. But you've just got to get out there. I mean, the women complain there's not enough people in the division, but unless you sign up for a division, they're not going to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in Aberdeen. Do you know? We never have comps here. We do have the one in Montrose now, but if you want to compete, you got to travel. So don't stand there and complain that they're nothing. Just go out and get it. Go out and find it. Really want to compete, it's out there, and there are people around that are quite happy to help find things. We're quite a nice bunch. Not as scary for pictures sometimes show.
But that's the thing. I mean, you talked about meeting the same people. I mean, for years, it was you and Aaron Beaumont. Like every show, it was like you two. Like Aaron would win, you would win, and it seemed to go back and forward. And this went on for a long time. Then Aaron got a purple belt.
Yeah. Plus, I think both of us sort of stopped doing the Scottish comps just because we've fought each other. Sometimes we've won, sometimes we lose, but we want fresh blood. We want fresh feet to play with. We've just got to go out. But I mean, Erin's obviously, she's injured just now.
Yeah.
But she should hopefully be back. Definitely by the end of the year, maybe autumn time. So she should be back out playing as well. But I mean, she was one of my first competitors, and we're really good friends now. We've stayed friends. It's quite strange, isn't it? Because we beat each other up. You know yourself, but some of these people that you meet and you befriend, they're awesome. But we will kill each other in that 5 minutes.
That was Erin. Was it that was the injury she got at ADCC the last time?
Yeah, that was the last one. Her knee got blown out. Freak accident. Some people don't like jumping guard jumpers because of it, but you know what? In everything that we do, there's risk for injury. Do you know what I mean? We're literally simulating murder. Yeah. Shit goes times, but it's not good when it happens. But unfortunately, it happens. Sport. Yeah. But I know she's been training and she's going to come back from it. Some people never come back from their injuries, but thankfully, she's been in the gym and she's got our ladies class. She's got our 2 ladies classes going that seem to be doing really well. I think one in Huntly and one in. So big up to them if you're in that area. Give it a try. So no, she's doing great, and as I say, she should be back out. But that's her got around.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. So
Yeah, it's even harder to get women now.
What were you? So this ADCC, how did you find out you were going to be on this ADCC? It was a given. I mean, you were going to be on one of them, or you were going to be on all of them. You should be on all of them. But how did you find out?
I literally put my name for if I see something coming up and I'm free, my name goes in, and I seen it was up. And as I say, I mean, I lost the last one. Up until that point, it was a good fight back and forth. Absolutely loved it. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. But just as I said at the start, the energy in that room was just electric. It was amazing. So as soon as it came again, I'm like, yep, I want to be back on. I mean, if they couldn't get me anybody, fair enough. But thankfully they have. I think they've got 3 women's fights this time.
Yeah.
I think there was about 6 last time, but it ended up getting whittled down to just the 2 injuries, pullouts, everything else that happened. But I think we've got 3, and I haven't heard any pullouts so far on it. So it should be good. As I say, it's just if it runs anything like it did last time, smooth, on the nose, and just such good fun. Such good fun. Yeah.
He'll need a bigger place the next time. I mean, he was talking about maybe getting a bigger place this time, but I know that for shows, I mean, you need to do the first couple of shows, see where you are, and then build from it.
Do you know what? I spoke to him because we did the camp that he did afterwards. We stayed last time and did the camp, which was really good. And he did sort of say about getting bigger. I says, if you go bigger, you might not get what you had.
Yeah.
What had there was a sellout, and it was awesome. People now know what it is, and you would think again that you're going to sell the tickets, and if that happens again, then maybe go bigger. You've already got, but sometimes when you have, I mean, I think there was about 200, so it wasn't tiny, but it wasn't huge, but it was just all. Well, you were there. It was just all round about you, and then. When you go bigger, it loses it all. It just becomes, you know what I mean. The atmosphere, the atmosphere is gone. So I'm glad that they stuck to this one this time. Because if you double the tickets, you never know if you're actually going to sell them.
Yeah.
200 for last time, but empty seats. So I suppose it's that, isn't it, between doing the same thing because it worked or making more money.
Yeah. I think he will. I mean, he'll have to. I mean, as I said, I know that the last time was crazy. This one's going to be just as busy. And then, do you know what I mean, if he wants to build and grow, I mean, especially not just the making money side. Obviously, you need to make some kind of money. But if you want to bring in, like, top grapplers from all over, not just from the UK, Scotland, England, but I mean, you want to bring in people from Europe and eventually people coming from America and stuff like that, then you're going to need to bring in or have a bigger venue, build a bigger revenue and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. But then I suppose it's finding the right place to do it, isn't it? And Stirling isn't the biggest. And if you end up moving to another town, another city, do you lose some of it because then it's not technically hometown? But then I suppose you've just got to go with it and try.
Yeah.
But hopefully they keep going. I mean, Northern Grappling, it's worked its way, and it's got bigger and bigger. Certainly, when I was on it, that was another. It didn't quite have the same electricity as ADCC, but then again, I think that's because you were in a massive venue this time, where ADCC was just there and it was round you. I mean, there was the tables, but everybody started to close in because everything was so exciting.
Yeah.
You know, you're there. Folk were like, you'd be fighting on the mats, and there was people cross-legged sitting on chairs and then standing. They were just tiered round you. It was, yeah, as I said, it was just it was really good to be on. Anybody that's so on Saturday is just going to have a great time, and the people going, hopefully matches are just as good as they were. Any gi match this time, or have they just stuck to the
no gi, yeah. So
got to
I don't
matches?
know. You can't. I don't think you can have. Can you have matches?
Gi matches last time, or is my brain just too many different?
Definitely no gi matches, because I think it's not jiu-jitsu, right? It's submission grappling, right? So because obviously you've got a mix of everything: wrestling, sambo, jiu-jitsu, and other grappling sports. So I don't think you shouldn't get gi matches on ADCC, no.
I must be thinking about something else.
You're thinking of TKC.
That had there was another saying that on a few different ones. I know Northern Submission they did have some gis and different bits and pieces. I mean, oh wait a minute, somebody has just told us there has been gi with ADCC rules.
Right, Taylor, where was that, Taylor? Because as I said, from my understanding, is ADCC is no gi.
But did they not put a comp on? Did they not put a competition on? And they did have some gi matches in it. Something's really well there that's where my brain's going with this one.
See, I was at that comp, and do you know what? I can't even remember. I cannot remember at all. Carol, me and you're the same age. Do you know what I mean? So, Father Time's catching up on my memory as well. So,
I really don't know what I don't actually know how I even remember where I'm meant to be every weekend.
Yeah, Taylor's just saying he's sure it was one of the ADCC UK comps.
It was. Hey, Div, you noticed though that Naga's back?
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm away with the kids that weekend, and everything else seems to be on that weekend. But yeah, I cannot wait to do a Naga.
Yeah. Naga was good. Naga was really, really good. Obviously, been away for a while. I know they were meant to come, but they had issues trying to get their equipment into the UK because of COVID.
Yeah, no, it was Brexit. Their trucks were stuck, and they couldn't. Because we were signed up for it, and then we were signed up for when they pushed the date. It didn't happen, but they never actually told anybody it was cancelled. It was only when you noticed and sort of says, "Hey, hold on a second, why have I not had a refund?" that we got the refunds, and it was a bit like, that was a wee bit cheeky.
I remember that because they had their stuff ready to ship in, and Brexit. So and Brexit kind of screwed everything up because they couldn't bring in any of the equipment, and obviously because it's Naga, it's their own stuff. They can't use like SGI's mats or fucking. So it needs to be their own stuff. So
own branded stuff, because grappling is just the same. They take the trucks around with them, don't they? And it's all their mats and whatnot that it's rolled out. And that whole year was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? Things were happening, things weren't happening. Some happened, some didn't happen. It was just So we seem to be back to normal now, but I do think that right now we have a bit of an influx of competitions, and I think it's not dried the market a bit. I mean, even in Scotland, there's grappling industries, there was All Stars, there was the ADCC, there was something else. There was like a whitewash, which guys, it's fine. You've always got big divisions, but for women, it means that there's like two because they're at the comp before or the next comp, and but then it is what it is, isn't it? Either sign up or you don't.
Yeah, as I say, there's quite a few. Scottish Grappling do their comps, AGP. So it's good though. It's good that we've got, because remember for years it was always Scottish Grappling or it was BJJ 24/7. I know they're talking about coming back as well. So and they always put on great events as well, really, really good events. I mean, for me, that was the first comps that I ever did, was the BJJ 24/7. So, and then just built up. Then I started doing IBJJF comps. So, as much as I hate them, everybody wants an IBJJF medal. So, and now, as I said, ADCC seems to be the rules that everybody loves. And that ADCC I went to last year was the first time I'd seen it live and in person, right? So, which to me, obviously I'd watched it on the flow grappling and all that kind of stuff, but seeing it live and in person was very, very different. And then knowing the rule set, because I did the referee course with Marius, and seeing the rule set and seeing, right, okay, you can do everything, you just can't slam anybody, right? So, but everything else, like, just go for it. So, yeah. So, as soon as you say that, I was like, yes, man. So, just.
Well, that's the thing. I find grappling industries is the one for me just now, because not only do you get a heap of matches, of blue belt and above, it's pretty much game on for everything. Even the white belts can wrist lock. Yeah. They've allowed smothering, they've allowed this, that, and the other. You know, why shouldn't we be attacking legs? Why shouldn't we do this? Yes, things are dangerous, but we're choking each other out. How's that not? Do you know what I mean? It's not dangerous in itself. But one thing is that we should be responsible for ourselves. If you don't like something, tap out. You shouldn't. People say, oh, you shouldn't have an ego, or there is no egos. There's obviously egos. We're getting on the mats to deck each other. Yeah. But realistically, I don't really want to badly hurt anybody. I want to hurt them, but I don't want to. Do you know what I mean? It's that really strange. But I mean, like at the TKC, I will admit, I tapped out. I had stuff on next week. Afterwards, I was like, oh, could I maybe done this? Could I maybe done that? And it's like, doesn't matter. I had good fun. I went. She won. She got me in a crappy position. I tapped out. Why fight that to then end up have a busted arm and not be able to train next week? Very much that we have to take responsibility for what we do. If you don't like the rule set, don't do it. If you complain afterwards, you know, I had a lassie, you know how you can, push the face? And she's screaming in the match, stop punching me. And I'm like,
I remember that, yeah.
I'm a savage, right? And 100% I'll hold my hands up to it, but this is fighting. But at no point am I a dirty player. I'll admit sometimes there's accidents happen, an elbow slips or something. But that's jiu-jitsu. But the last grappling industries in Berlin, where they'd allowed smothering, I'd put my hand on her face and push, stop punching me in the face, stop punching me in the face. Just like, she wouldn't shake my hand afterwards. She wouldn't, it was, I was just sort of standing there like, right, okay, there's nothing I could do here. I mean, I'd won on points, but it was just ridiculous. What are you even doing here? What do you think is we're doing? I mean, I've had it myself. You get a cheeky elbow at the face, and I'm like, came on. After you shake hands, everything's fine. You've got a busted nose, something's bleeding. If that doesn't happen, you haven't had fun, have you?
Yeah. Well, that was me at Forza. I mean, I came away, my eye was fucked, my mouth was bust open, and he'd fucking heel hooked me. My knee was fucked, right? And then I remember putting a post up saying, look, my eye's fucked, my mouth's fucked, my knee's fucked. I had a fucking ball. Do you know what I mean? So I enjoyed it.
It's not always just that 5 minutes or the 10 minutes you're in there, use the build up, use the walkout, use the song that you have, get that smile on your face. Life's for living. Yeah. Do you know, we've got enough stress. I've got stress at work. I've got 2 kids. They're teenagers. They're knob-ends. Do you know what I mean? I get in the cage, de-stress myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just have fun with this.
Yeah. Nah, Lewis Penny, as did after he hooked me, he was more worried about me than I was worried about myself. So, and that just shows. I mean, Lewis, good friend of mine, good friend of all ours. You know, I mean, everybody knows Lewis. So, but as I said, he was, oh, Stoom, you okay? You're right. Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, mate, fucking, do you know what I mean? It is what it is. It's fun, man.
There you go. That's how ridiculous it is. We are literally going to break each other's ankles, but when something actually happens, might happen, we're all like, oh my God, are you okay? And then you've got to think, I actually meant to do that. It was an accident. I was purposely trying break your ankle, and then something happens. We're like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Is it okay? It's just like, yeah, it's crazy and how nuts this is. So the irony in it is just awesome.
Yeah. What's next? So obviously, again, we talked about you. This will be 4 weeks in a row. But you mentioned fingers crossed. Hopefully, you're going to take a couple of weeks off.
Hopefully, I'm getting a couple of weeks off, but we are looking at MMA. I'm trying to maybe get another fight. There's Bungard's show. There's Unity that might be looking for somebody. There's also Almighty down. I'm not sure if Damon's maybe got something in Almighty down in I think it's North Wales, the next one.
Yeah.
But that's my fingers crossed for that. But you know what it's like with matching. I'm definitely signed up for Grappling Industries in Birmingham. I've also got a Grappling Industries at Christmas in Amsterdam. So that should be the pre-Christmas treat.
Yeah.
I'd love to get more sub-onlys. I love these sub-onlys. I just love the rule sets. It depends what the rule set is. I've got to admit, I'm not a fan of the Polaris rule set. To be on top, because we all know that sort of, if you're grappling, having the guard is a good place. But if it's Polaris and you've got a good guard around them, don't matter. They're the ones that are on top.
Yeah.
Learned that one the hard way, but hey ho, that was the hard way. But again, I should have known the rule set better. I should have probably studied it better.
Yeah.
But hey ho. So anybody else looking for sub-onlys, give us a shout.
Well, there's a few Northern Submission Series. We're going to have a couple of shows before the end of the year. We're going to have Grapple Wars had their very first show in North Wales, Llandudno. Awesome. It was in a nightclub as well, similar to Grapple Fest. And by all accounts, it was an amazing show. So I think they're doing a second one in July. But then they'll be looking to do a third one later on in the year.
Well, they put stuff up, and I'd asked to go on that one, and then they put out that every competitor needed to sell 5 tickets. So I sort of messaged them. I'm like, right, I get that, but one, why can't you sell tickets? And two, I'm in Aberdeen. There's no way I'm getting 5 people down. He sort of says, oh, well, if we match you up, we can probably make leeways because you're coming so far. And I mean, we know the score when it comes to grappling. We pay our travel. If we're staying over for MMA. But so you want me to do all that and then have to sell tickets?
Yeah.
Then I'd messaged them back saying, is there any word of matchups? They saw the message and replied, and I've got to admit that pains me. All they need is like, sorry, we've matched up, not looking for anybody, but I was a little okay.
So Grapple Wars is out the window then.
You never know, but it's these little things. I mean, I'm old school, not a millennial, and just shut down conversations and ghost. You know what I mean? I think yourself, just that little bit of, I don't know if you want to say connection or what, all you need to say is sorry, no. That's all that needed, or a thumbs down or something, how hard to text. But then on the other side, these shows, they get hundreds of probably people messaging and asking questions. So I suppose it's weighing it up. I'm not a fan of rude people.
The ticket sales one's a bizarre one because for me, I would not expect anybody to come down to Liverpool or Manchester, not anywhere down south to come and watch me grapple. Right? Different MMA, right? We go down in MMA, you're there, maybe a few people come down. We've seen people coming from Scotland where they take fucking 2 and 3 busfuls of people, right? So MMA is very, very different. But grappling, I would never expect anybody. If it was a local show, then people are going to come. If it's in Aberdeen, I mean, you could probably fill the place. Do you know what I mean? So, but to go all the way down there and take 5 people who are going to buy a ticket for whatever it was, 35, 40 quid, pay petrol down to wherever, drive down, get a train down. They're going to need to stay overnight, right? So to come and watch you grapple, which could last 30 seconds or it could last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It's It was, as soon as I heard that, I was a little bit like, okay. But then I suppose first show, they need to sell tickets. But then are they then paying for other people? So you want me to not be paid and not have my travel paid and not have accommodation paid. But then you want me to pay for some. It was just, I mean, I get these things sort of start out, but it was just a little bit like, okay, we'll we'll see. If I get on, we'll get on, but we'll just take it as it is. But when's your one happening? You keep saying you're doing something.
Well, no, mine's is coming. As I said, it's going to be. I talked about it's going to be with an MMA show, right? So it's actually going to be a part of an already existing MMA show.
Oh.
Right? So obviously I can't go into too much details. I've had numerous meetings talking about it. Originally I was going to do one of my own, but then every venue I went to in Glasgow said, no, we don't cover MMA shows. And I'm like, well, this isn't an MMA show. But then see, once they said that, I'm like, well, there's no point in arguing with these guys because they've not got a fucking clue. Do you know what I mean? Like the last one, the one venue, we had it booked. It was going to be, we had a date sorted. It was going to be in May. And then that I'd already booked it in October, right? Paid the deposit, right? We're ready to go. Everything was getting set up. It was going to be in place. We were going to then start making fight announcements in January, right? So 5 months, give 5 months. And then they got back to me just before Christmas, about a week or so before Christmas, and said, oh, I've checked my insurance, and because it's an MMA style show, we can't do it. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. So
the crowd, I mean, it's nuts, isn't it? I suppose what we do is a sport, the MMA as well. You know, I've never been interested in fighting. I got into this sort of later. I think what you choose is it with MMA, it's in nightclubs, in shows, and the crowd are rowdy, and the crowd end up having fights, and it's like, don't quite understand it. The people are fighting. Why do you fight out with? And that whole associated with it seems to now have sort of knocked on to the grappling events.
yeah.
So it's sort of given the grappling events, I suppose, a bad rep in a way.
Yeah.
You didn't get the. I suppose what they see is, oh, it's grappling, so the crowd's going to be rowdy, and we're going to get our place trapped. That would be my guess for it.
Yeah. So I've had meetings with a couple of different people, a couple of different MMA shows, and they want to have like a kind of undercard, a jiu-jitsu undercard. So
like what chaos?
Yeah,
you know,
similar to Chaos. Goliath's doing the very similar as well. They're doing that on the 24th. So it's going to be similar to that because they recognise because it's bringing in different eyes for, not just for like the MMA, but for the jiu-jitsu as well, because you're going to have the MMA crowd that are going to be there. Like I'm watching, like TKC did it brilliantly. I mean, they had everything mixed in together rather than having just the jiu-jitsu at the beginning, then all the combat sports, the stand-up stuff, the kickboxing, boxing and so on. They mixed it all in together, right? Which made it better. Evolution of Combat used to do that as well, which was brilliant. So we're going to do the way it's going to be very similar to Chaos. Jiu-jitsu first. And then I'm like, well, Stoom, can you sell X amount of tickets? And I was like, well, I know who I want to see.
Aye.
Right? And who I want to see is going to be very similar to what Caroline would want to see, or this person or that person. So, yeah, you're going to have, like, the way to sell tickets, is most people know, you're going to have local people against people from further away. Now, the further away ones are not going to sell 20 tickets, 30 tickets. It's your local guys that are going to sell. So let's say if it's in Glasgow, you're talking about people like, say, the guys from like Marcus's or the Grip House, and do you know what I mean, like the Hit Squad and even higher level and so on. So these are the guys that are going to sell 20 and 30 tickets each. Whereas obviously you coming from Aberdeen, I know you're not going to sell 20, 30 tickets. So it's going to be like, no, don't worry, you're still getting paid.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a case, and that's the thing. When I spoke to the guys that do these MMA shows, I said, look, I want the grapplers paid. right? I want every second, regardless of tickets. I want an amount of money. You sell X amount of tickets. What you're doing is you're selling tickets for the event. You're not selling tickets for just you. It's for the event. We're going to get an amount of money, and that amount of money we're then going to pay all the grapplers. Again, dependent on like the levels. Obviously, the main event, they'll get a bit more money, but then it'll filter down so everybody will get paid. And they're like, no, that's a great idea. And they're like, how much do you pay them? And I said, well, look, obviously we need to look at tickets. How much are you going to be selling the tickets for? Because remember, the ticket's going to be an all-day thing as well. So you buy a ticket for the grappling show.
Get it all. You're not going to split it up.
Yeah. So you're going to be there for the whole thing. So then it'll be like a split of, okay, some people might say, well, I'm only going to be here for the grappling and I'm leaving. Right, okay, so you can get a different kind of ticket. Do you know what I mean? A cheaper ticket. So but that's my big thing. I want the grapplers paid. Right? Because what we do, we go out there and we do this shit for nothing. Right? So
do this. I mean, as I say, I mean, I've got no issues with it, but I mean, I did the TKC. We drove down. We didn't stay over, but if we had stayed over, I'd be paying for my hotel. I mean, with MMA, Paul doesn't put us on anything unless our travel and accommodation, if needed, paid. And I get that. I mean, these shows are asking for 40, 50, 60 pounds a ticket. Why should least get taken there to do it? But as I say, we all know grappling's different. Doesn't bring in the same crowd. But if you are having places that do bring in that crowd, then how many places have actors that don't? Do you know what I mean? If things become big, then why shouldn't they get paid? You are the entertainment. That's what people are coming to see. They're not coming to see, Christ knows what, but do you know what I mean? They are coming to see what's happening. And whether you're first on, but you know yourself, you'll have been to some of these where the top players, their matches are boring. Yeah. But the two Spazzy white belts that just came on to open the show, holy shit, rager! I mean, I'm having a go at Spazzy white belt, but do you know what I mean? There, you can have the two lower nobodies have the most exciting match, and then the two guys that you have just paid £100 or whatever, you know, you shipped the flown, you've flown them over. Their match could be 10 minutes. You're just like, right, we'll watch Jay, right, we'll people because they can't have their seats. You know what? That's you've done it yourself. Gi match, and they're like this, and you've totally lost interest after 2 minutes. That's just, it's the whole thing's the show, not just the main players.
I need to look at rule set as well. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, because I would love to have an ADCC rule set. Now, obviously, that's something I need to speak to Mop about and say, well, look, Mop, if we are going to do this show, do you know what I mean? I want to do it under an ADCC rule set. Is that okay? Check with Marius and make sure it's okay. Obviously, get the nod before, and then that means bringing in like an ADCC referee, which is not a problem. So
you do and stuff, don't you? I suppose is to use the ADCC brand. Does that mean you need to get like what's the word? Like not confirmation. Do you need to sign something to get that? I mean, a lot of the shows that I've done, they're like, all right, we've got Polaris rules, or we've got this rules, or we've got those rules. The only one that I've done, which has been specifically ADCC rules, obviously, has been the ADCC one. All of them now seem to favour it's sub only, but if it goes to rest decision, it's attempts, it's activeness, it's you got to be fighting for it. So that's what a lot of them tend to do. But I mean, if you pick ADCC, do you sort of have to not buy into their franchise, but do you have to like?
I think as long as I get the nod, right? As long as I get the okay, do you know what I mean? And say, right, okay, we're going to run this under an ADCC rule set without the points, right? Without the let's go just a full 10 minutes. Everything's, but again, in saying that, I mean, that's similar rule set to probably other ones as well. Do you know what I mean? Like Grapple Fest. Do you know what I mean? Grapple Fest is pretty much everything's involved. The only difference is they don't have like ADCC's got the point system. So I mean, it could be similar to Grapple Fest, but as I say, I'd love to have it so that, do you know what I mean? Like, if you fucking, do you know what I mean? If you pull guard, or if you, do you know what I mean? You get penalised for it. Do you know what I mean? You get told off, look, don't do that, because it's fucking, I mean, there's nothing worse. Don't get me wrong, that you have to pull guard against certain people, right? But if it's a submission only, why are you pulling guard? Why do people pull guard in a submission only? Because
it doesn't matter. As well, right? So you're saying, why pull the guard? So if the takedown goes wrong and you end up on your back, you're pretty much in your guard. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Or you often play it to guard. There's not many takedowns that you're going to end up in mount.
Yeah.
Really. If anything, you're gonna end up probably in side control, and then you fight to get your guard back if it's a guard what you want. But as you say, sitting down,
people do it, man. People do it, but the ones that do it are exciting, right? I mean, you look at, do you know what I mean? There is a few people. I mean, you look at like Finn Carterson will sit down, but the way Finn did it at TKC, which is something that I was talking about to. I can't remember who he was up against, but I said, look, Finn's going to sit down, right? It's the very first thing. Yeah. He's going to sit down and he's going to ankle pick you, right? And I said, that's exactly what he's going to do, right? And sure enough, they went in, Finn sat down and he ankle picked. And he tried to ankle pick, and then it was a crazy roll. In fact, it was one of BJJ guys, because I remember talking to him before it and saying, look, this is exactly what he's going to do, right? So watch out for it, and boom. That's exactly what he did. So,
but do you know what you do? You sort of know what some people are going to do, don't you? Often, sometimes you've just got to go full retard and just go for something. Do you know what I mean? At reorg, the lassie I had, she was a black belt judo. She wouldn't engage. I just started diving at her legs. I just started rolling around the ground. She was up on points. What did it matter if things went? Do you know what I mean? It was that, like, okay, let's just fly and see what happens here. See what catches. Honestly, what does it matter, really?
Yeah,
you know, I win the match. You go up, you get your medal. You don't get your medal, you get a hug afterwards. Then nobody knows the next. You know what I mean? But you've had some fun whilst you've done it. But yeah, it's just, you've just got to go for things. But then everybody's got their game, haven't they?
Yeah. Nah, they do. They definitely do. But yeah, it's going to be listening. It's going to be awesome to see you Saturday again, as we're only a couple of days away now. But anybody you want to shout out to, Caroline? The usual friends, family members, teammates, anything like that?
And just everybody that I train with. I mean, as I say, we were down at Rio at the weekend, met some amazing lasses down there. You know, new friends, old friends. I've also got my daughter who's back out competing. Absolutely loving it. Big shout out to her for actually getting stuck in. I didn't push her either, just in case anybody thinks that I'm like rolling with my daughter 24/7 in the living room. She came on her own accord, and I think part of that is because most people that train, you know what that atmosphere is like in the gym, don't you? It's that weird second family that just is amazing to be around, and it's been around. So yeah, everybody that picked up my kids, everybody that I've trained with, and everybody that's going to be there at the weekend to hopefully make this just as exciting, even more so exciting. Last time.
Your daughter added me on Facebook on Saturday, I think it was. And ever since she's added me, just picture after picture after picture. Just as soon as I open up Instagram, it's like, Grace. Is that her name? Grace, yeah? Just as soon as I open up Instagram, it's like Grace Plumley. Grace Plumley. Just honestly, it was brilliant to see, though.
And then actually seeing Tom Hardy competing as well, that was just like, man, I've never seen somebody's eyes sparkle so much.
Yeah.
When he turned up at the comp. But do you know what? Actually seeing kids, not just mine, but others as well, just getting stuck into these things is amazing. Is these things for your kids to do, but sometimes you've just got to push them to do it. But yeah, she proper photo bombed her new Instagram account. I think it's Team Plumley or something. Yeah. But shoot, yeah, super excited. So you never know, Might see her on some sub-onlys.
Well, listen, fingers crossed. I know that Victory do a lot of sub-onlys as well. I'd say from young kids right up to obviously us old fogies. Plus, we're gonna be up in Aberdeen. We're going to be up in Aberdeen in August.
It's the old people training session.
Yeah. We're going to have a. So I can't remember what was the date.
Yes, or something.
Yeah, I sorted this today with Craig because obviously every time it comes up, and Craig always says to me, "Stoom, you know it's not my gym." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you can ask, So we're going to be heading up to you guys, and there's going to be people coming from all over. We've got Dundee. People coming from like Stirling, from Glasgow, Edinburgh, and surrounding areas of Dundee, all heading up to Aberdeen. Inverness will come down as well. So
the ice and the white tape ready for everybody's fingers, tape for the knees.
Well, Craig's going to have, what did he say? He's going to have scones and tea for everybody on the day.
He's a liar. He would have tenants of tape. That's not that I drink beer, but you know that's what you need at the old people training camp.
Yeah, that's him and Speedo's favourite diet, tenants. So.
As long as there's a lady for us older ladies, if it's going to be beer and drinks, that mess on the floor before getting you.
Listen, we're definitely looking forward to come up to Aberdeen, so it'll definitely be awesome to catch up with you guys. Definitely get rolls. There's a few of you guys, even though we've known each other years, there's a few of you guys I've never rolled with. So
well, the thing is, with COVID, I used to get out and about training quite a lot, but then with COVID, everything just sort of shut down, and you weren't sort of getting into other gyms. So now, I suppose things are back open, but it's just been comp, sub only, fight, train. So I haven't really got out and about as much as I'd like to. So hopefully, we'll get back out training at different gyms again. Oh, things have gone dead.
let's have a look. So sorry, the National Masters Training. There we go, Caroline. So I was just talking about the Aberdeen. Let's see, we're going to be coming up. The last leg of the Scottish National Masters Training Camp is going to be at Aberdeen Combat Centre. So 2 hours of grappling. Just all gi as well, all gi. So it's all the more mature grapplers. I don't like saying old. It's more mature. We should be more sensible, but we're not.
No, never more sensible. I think I'm probably the oldest one on the mats most of the time, and I'm the biggest idiot that's there.
Yes. No, I'm the same. I walk in our gym and they're like, Stoom, man, you're like 45, 46-year-old. I mean, why are you, do you know what I mean? Why are you carrying on the way you carry? Like the stuff with Mark McQueen, and I put that muscle suit on, and everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? The Lewis Perry with the wig, and do you know what I mean?
That was worth that. To me, that's what it should be. Because as I say, you're in a cage, half naked, wrestling with dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's nothing more ironic, funny about how can you take that seriously? But then you should maybe come out with the suit on.
Yeah. Well, maybe listen, October the 1st, the next Forza, there's going to be an 8-man tournament. Very, very similar. He needs to do a women's one. I'm going to speak to Enzo and get a women's one. So it was like an open weight women's one, no belts because it's no gi. So I'm going to get him to do a women's one because there was money. I mean, they put £1,000 up for grabs for 8-man. So £1,000 women's tournament.
But
fucking awesome.
I mean, do you know what I mean? But then I think you've seen Mark McQueen and was like, yeah, pointless. No pointless.
Well, that was why I got that T-shirt, the fuck Mark McQueen. That was going to be, that should have been delivered on the Wednesday, of that week. It didn't come. Because I was coming out wearing it. I was going to come out wearing it and be like, fuck Mark McQueen. Do you know what I mean? Like, boo. booing him and stuff like that. So, and then obviously I spoke to him, and Matt's, when I did get it and I showed him it, and he's like, mate, that is fucking awesome. Do you know what I mean? And then people started messaging me saying, oh, are these up for sale? And I'm like, no, they weren't. And then obviously I said to Mark, look, people want to buy them. Are you all right with me selling them? Whatever we sell, the profit, I'll split the profit with you. And he's like, no problem. So
I think you should have come out on a hoverboard with somebody dressed up in the Mark McQueen suit and somebody dressed up in the Lewis Penny suit behind you.
Well, listen, the next one, I need to go bigger the next one. So I'm trying to catch up with you. See, every time you come out with the kung fu music and the fucking, what was it, the Kill Bill gi, do you know what I mean?
Running out of though, nobody's got decent stuff. I've got to admit, I'm well into the freshly baked stuff just now. That stuff is nice here. Loving that stuff. So it'll be getting rocked at the weekend.
Nice.
I like their whole sort of just chilled out bit of fun. So they've got new stuff coming out as well. So we'll be rocking that. But I'd love to get some really out there sort of custom stuff done. I did say to them, I says, I think you should get shorts with the donuts, but saying nom nom on the ass. That would be class. Come on. It did. Like, oh, I don't know if we'd sell them to guys. And I'm like, right, okay, so I messaged people, would you wear these? Like, fucking of course we would wear these. But yeah, just as you say, it's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seeing jiu-jitsu stuff with like a raging bear banging on their chest, but then the ones go the opposite way where it's like, oh, it's all unicorns, and no, we want just cool, chilled out stuff for a bit of fun. So we'll see what people come out with.
Definitely. So guys, there we go then. We've got the Duchess, Caroline Plumley, Aberdeen Combat Centre is going to be stepping out on the ADCC Scotland Invitational 2. That's this Saturday. Now, it's going to be in Stirling, the Golden Lion Hotel. Awesome venue for an awesome event. Ticket availability, as they hit up your chosen grapplers, they may have tickets or be able to get tickets. If not, then head over to Eventbrite. And there is still some tickets. There's not many left. So do not expect to turn up at the venue and get them at the door, because as you might be very, very disappointed if they're sold out before that. So Duchess, thank you very much as always. Absolute pleasure chatting to you.
And we will see you on Saturday for a good laugh.
Definitely. Listen, enjoy the rest of your training, and I'll see you in a couple of days.
Awesome. See you later.
Take care.